All right, guys, we're this is chapter 3 still. We're still in percentages. We'll be out of it today. Let's get you a problem that gets you thinking right away. I have 12 students enrolled in this course.
For now.
Yes, for now.
Should have dropped it. Did she drop it before you started W?
Who? Melissa?
Yeah.
No, she emailed me today. She's still on the roster. I have 12 students enrolled in this course, only 8 of which have registered for the homework.
Wait, what?
On my math lab. What percentage of students are not registered? This is how you make up a word problem right on the spot.
I know.
I hope so.
You stop. What do you want me to round to though? Just a.
Let's go 2 decimal places. In your final answer, I should say. I don't think I've ever seen you with your fucking hat off. Yeah, that's right.
Not long yet. Kind of mouth. So that house going.
I have 8 students registered and 8 students here. And I know they're not the same 8 students, which is fucking great. Because Mason just got done telling me he's not registered yet.
At least I was on.
I'm assuming the rest of you are registered. Oh, are you still on proms? You have a question? Can you scoot forward?
There's an open seat right there.
There's like a open seats all over, like you're making it hard to teach. Even just 2 seats for you don't need to sit in the front row. Or buy boxes.
You're coming in like.
Another week, okay. I'll zoom in for another week.
It's your deadline. I got 9 students in the class. Maybe he's registered for all right. Now your problems for that.
Right. Now my math is off. Now one of them is, I know at least one of them is not besides you. My lighting's now weird. There we go. Look at that. All fucking bright in my eyes. So if we do that is of triangle thing. Which one of these things am I looking for? We're looking for the percentage, right? So we should have the rest. And so we're going to have some number divided by another number. What do I put in my is and what do I put in my of?
No.
Let's check. Let's see what we get if we get 12. If I put 12 there, I have 8 here. I assume 8 here?
Yep.
Is that what I'm doing? Okay. this is gonna be division. So the percent is gonna say 12 divided by 8. And if I throw that into a calculator, I get 1.50. What is that in terms of an answer to this?
That means 100 and,
More than.
yeah, more than 100,
Yeah, remember, we gotta move this into a percentage. This is saying
150.
150% of students have registered. Yeah, you get 1.5, but the decimal is not the percentage. Remember, to get it as a percentage, we gotta move it right twice, the decimal point,
Or divide by, or it's multiplied by.
or multiply by 100. Does that logically make sense? 150% of students have registered. That doesn't make sense, so this can't be it. So it was worth a try. So now what do I put?
8 on top.
We do 8 on top,
Well,
To me,
okay?
it's easier if I phrase it like this, 8 is what percentage of 12? Because my brain goes ahead.
That is good. 8 is what percentage of 12? That got rid of all the extra clutter in the word problem. It got rid of the content. But always make sure we go back and check the word problem for our answer. So if we do this, we get the percentage is 8 divided by 12, and you should get 0.666666, blah, blah, blah. If we do it as a percentage, I move the decimal right twice and I get 66.66666%, and it keeps going. And it says we only want 2 decimal places. So I got to round to this place, which means looking at the place next to it. The place next to it is 5 or larger, so I'm going to round that up. I'm going to go up to 0.67 and say 66.67%. I'm trying to move this up because I don't have all the question on the screen. Have I answered the question?
No.
Who thinks I've answered the question? What?
I mean,
F.
I'm just trying to help
Yeah.
you out. They're right there.
Is that good?
Perfect.
Is that too far?
Yeah.
That's too far. That extra
Oh, man,
0.03% increase zoom in was exactly okay.
I can see it before. You can agree.
Okay, so who thinks I've answered the question? Who thinks I haven't answered the question? Wow, I see a total of 3 hands out of all of that.
I think 5 was one.
So it says we had 8 students register out of 12. The question is, what percentage of students have not registered? It's a drop.
No.
We found the percentage of students that did register. So we have the wrong answer. How do we fix this?
Try it.
Subtract from 100 is probably the best choice. And if you do that, you're gonna get 33.33%. There is another way.
I was
Yes,
gonna say,
Bob.
you could be lazy, do it.
What's your way?
Show us.
So we read at the end of the problem, he goes, what's the percentage of students who are not registered? So that would be 4. So 4 over 12.
That's
Or-
not the lazy way, that's the more work way.
No, that's not even more work in my head. It's
Other than just subtracting?
It's 4 to, because, no, but 4 to 12, that's way easier to make that fraction than just 1/3. And then what you know, 1/3, I know 1/3 is 0.3, that's 30, sorry. Yeah, 0.3333, so that'd be 33.33%.
So from where we are, we could do this, or we could do what Bob said.
If you know that it's gonna,
Switch it around. Okay, if 8 students registered, how many didn't register? We do subtraction. So what Bob said is like 8 registered, so 12 minus 8 didn't register.
because I could do that in my head, but I couldn't do 100 minus 66.67, it's hard. But I could do the. Not hard, but I actually. I can't think.
I had a fucking teacher giving me the L sign. It's fucking great.
Sad part, was it, I was just saying, sad part was it in the right order?
I know, because I know, it's, yeah. So I didn't really give it to you and I can get away with doing it. So instead of using the 8, I could redo this with the 4. And if you do that, you're gonna get 4/12, which is 0.33333333. 33.33%.
And you've already accounted for the fact you guys.
And I'm already answering the right question again. All right, you guys ready for more? There you go. Use the Jacobian to prove that switching from Cartesian to spherical coordinates.
Let's see.
That's
That was
calculus.
calculus, yeah, that's calculus right there. Yeah,
If your restaurant bill is $31.42,
what is Dine and Dash?
it's not the answer.
Um,
Don't do that. That's wrong.
don't know what they are.
What would make a 15% tip?
I don't have my wallet, but I have a little tip card in it. So I don't have to do that.
Does the tip card tell you for any amount?
Up until $100. It's
Really?
on both sides, yeah. It's super nice.
That's fucking lazy as fuck.
No, it's, yeah, it was before phones were existed, so like, you couldn't. Usually.
I challenge you, Mason, to do this without the phone. The way you would do it would be making it 10% and 5%.
Yeah,
You wanna up your game. Do this without the phone, Mason.
alright, let me see, I don't think I can.
As long as you're within a penny or two, I'll accept the answer. And then how much should you leave on the table? To pay for dinner and tip. Now I gotta do it in my head. Let's see. I think you guys are gonna come up with $4.71.
Yep. Oh, no,
7-1.
I was at 464, just adding the last.
See, you don't get a fucking tip card.
So as soon as, but
That's why I went with 15%.
I was
Like,
gonna say, but as soon as you gave me the little clue, just going ahead and using 5, 10 and 5, I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. It's easy. Are you gonna show them already?
yeah. It's called estimating,
Yeah,
but it works for exact shit here too. It's how they.
for here,
estimate.
it's okay because we know that we're rounding to a certain decimal point, so we can forget that too.
All right, so what is going on here? Like, this is a percentage problem. I've got my is, I've got my of, I've got my percent. What goes where?
50%. And then on the off, it's 31.42.
So my is my question mark, and since these are side by side, we're multiplying. And I would recommend you keep the dollar sign there, especially because we're leading into units in the next section. And like dollar signs is the unit is in this problem.
And sometimes that number doesn't mean anything.
So the percentage, we have to turn it into decimal before we move it.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Because otherwise, if we don't turn it into a decimal, check it, give it a try. If you do $31.42 times 15, it's gonna tell you to leave a really big fucking tip.
I was gonna say, unless you did like the
Right.
cross, unless you did the cross multiplying thing, like you were taught like a third.
Maybe.
Some people are taught that, yeah.
Yeah, that's how I've always done it since I was.
100%.
Right, so that one should tell you right away. I don't wanna leave it as a decimal, because
What
there's
if
no
you
reason.
divided that by 100?
That's what I was gonna ask, what if you divide that by 100?
That'll give you the correct
answer.
value, so you can,
It's just like when you're using your calculator that you want.
go ahead,
Oh, sorry.
4.713.
Yeah.
This came up with a good question. Do we go with the decimal first? If we do the 3142 times just 15, we have it as a percent. So, and we have the dollars. And so when we come out with it, we had $471.30 percent still there. And we didn't want the percent. So to get rid of the percent, we move the decimal or divide by 100. And that gives us, that will cancel out the percentage. And we'll end up with $4.713 as our tip. Whichever way you go, if you do it this way, the answer spits it out right away. If you do it here, there's another step, but you gotta do it somewhere. You gotta remember to move the decimal, but it is okay to move it afterwards. So how much is the tip?
$4.71.
It's just $4.71. We don't have no .003 in,
Man,
Money. so that's my tip. How much should I leave?
should leave 5. I don't wanna believe change, this kind of annoying, but pick up.
Well, then they have to make change later on. You're right, but the bill was $31.42. I haven't paid that yet either.
True.
So how do I address paying for the bill and the tip? Someone else. Adding what? Just spit it out.
Adding one more?
What?
That's what she said.
How are we adding them together? If I pay the $4.71 and I pay the $31.42,
31.
How I would,
you're gonna round up and,
no, I would round down. I would be just like,
oh, look at
count the
this.
71 cents as like, whatever what is that, 50?
If you wanted to leave exactly 15%, we'll discuss rounding in a second.
I don't wanna leave exactly 15, I just wanna leave under, I don't wanna have to give them extra change, I just wanna give them exactly.
I know, I understand that. You don't want to leave change.
Yeah.
The exercise here though is adding up.
Okay, so you're adding.
I'm adding.
Okay, you're just simply adding.
Just pay the bill and give them like a 5-cent tip.
And a 5-cent tip, is that what you said?
Yeah.
You are a generous God. A 5-cent tip would get that nickel thrown at your fucking head. As you walk up. That's some mocking shit.
Yeah, he legit asked you, did you leave this here?
So, where Mason's going with this is, I don't want to do a change. So maybe I estimate it. Maybe I say this is a $5 tip. And I say this is $31 and it's easy to add up and get 36. And I don't have to worry about doing all the adding. I just rounded the nearest thing. The 36 is definitely over the 31.42. I'm apparently not giving quite a 15% tip since it's below the 36.13, but it's still, there's still a tip there because it's more than the 31.40 tip. So that's one way of going about doing it. You don't want to sit there and add up and go, I don't.
Or you could be Warren Buffett and be like 13 cents, and we'll round that, or you say.
What I do, I will go, where is the 15% mark? And then I'll decide, do I want to round up or down?
I mean.
Because I'm with him, I leave dollar amounts, I don't want to do change.
I feel like it's a little petty, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you might come in.
Right. So. Application of is of percent or percentage things in real life. So adding them together is how, because if you're gonna pay both, you would, like if you buy them, but buy something in the grocery store, you buy two things, you don't buy them separately, you buy them all at once and they add up the prices. It's a similar idea.
What about doing sales tax? We do a problem, so.
Same idea. All right, Bob. No, we're using your actual fucking name here. Mason earns
Not the government name.
$15.50 an hour.
Got me 50 cents over, thank you.
He earns a merit raise, which is a shock. Of 13%, which is a good fucking raise. What is his new hourly pay rate? This is how you practice percentages things in a trade class, because everybody's gonna have this kind of shit going on. So I'll give you time to write it down and then we'll reason out what we want to do, because there's a couple ways of tackling this.
That's not great.
That's a good rate, right?
Yeah. That's like leveling up after 6 months, dude.
It's a little over 2.
How much more tax?
Yeah. That's just okay. Yeah, exactly.
What did you say?
You said taxes. How much more are they gonna take? me than that?
Taxes are done the same way. In fact, I was gonna do one that says, well, how much is Medicare tax? But then I'm like, I knew Mason's gonna fucking show up and gonna go, what about federal and what about state? And, you know, what if they take out stuff for health insurance and blah, 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 blah.
What about social security?
Right, why don't we just stick with a raise?
What about the natives? They, what was it? They don't have to pay taxes though? Or-
Oh, a bunch of people don't have big taxes, churches don't pay taxes. I worked for a church for 7 years. If you saw the kind of money they fucking rake in, you're gonna be like, how is that a non-profit
It's
organization?
just the worst part is when the fact that they're so relaxed on what can be deemed as a church, and the Kardashians have their own church.
Do they?
Yeah, and the fact that like all of their donations are to that church. Technically are all basically going to the Christian or who's the main mom of it all. It's all going to her because she's the head honcho and the basically coordinator of the church. So they get taxed
See, I
for giving themselves money.
after working for the church for about a year, I was like, I want to start up a religion because
Yeah,
we're that
it's
very
like-
region.
You can actually wear a spaghetti spread over your
Yeah.
head, yeah, colander, yes.
Pastafarian,
Pastafarian. I want to do that, at least once.
that's the whole atheist church.
Isn't that all Scientology?
No,
No, Pastafari.
the Pastafarian is playing off of, I want to say it was Richard Dawkins, a famous atheist arguing.
Oh, that was a.
The who worship is kind of arbitrary. It could be a flying spaghetti monster. And the flying spaghetti monster turned into the Pastafarian church.
What if the gods they saw was because they were high?
Probably was,
Probably.
that'd make it explain.
You know, burning bush and all of a sudden there's
Yeah.
people dead. What was burning? Can we get a better description of it?
You know,
Who was
Was there little buds on it?
Who had the whole plantation?
Right? All right, so we've got 2 strategies here. One strategy is figure out how much the raise is. Is that what you did?
I was lazy. I think you know the way I did.
Yeah. And then add it to the hourly rate. This would tell him not only what his new rate is, but what the raise was. So he's like telling someone else, he can say, I made, you know, this much of a raise. That's option A. Option B is to skip the calculation of the raise itself. and go straight to the total. New rate. And we'll discuss both and how they're related. Because it segues into the last section in percentages, increases and decreases. This method works for determining how much something is after a discount or a sale. So if I wanted to rewrite it as Bertha recommends. What is 13% of $15.50? That's my of, and my 13 is here. And I'm just gonna put the decimal in right now, so I don't forget. I think if I did it, I'm gonna figure out right away that I forgot. Because they're not gonna give him like a, $200 raise. And that's, I got a dollar sign, so we're gonna do 1550 times 0.13, and what do we get?
2.01.
0.15? So how much is his raise?
$2.02.
Yeah, we gotta round to the nearest penny, right? So the penny is the second decimal place, and we're gonna look at the next one. That's the raise, which is a good raise. How much would his new pay rate be?
Assuming I work it out.
No, hourly, what is
Oh,
the
yeah,
hourly
yeah,
rate, not daily rate? And how did you get that?
By adding the
1550.
50 plus.
202.
Yeah, let her answer, Mason. Better slow your shit down, boy. I will call your mama. You boy acting up in my fucking class.
You're gonna thank me.
I bet she does. I don't think it worked.
No, I didn't. I just smiled and laughed.
You get to a certain age, that's what happens.
Yeah, pretty much.
I got my share of whoopings until I was about 13, and then, are you done yet? That shit ended, it was completely ineffective. You're just wasting my time. Yes, it stings, but are you done? Because it happened to me, I was mad, I felt, I was unjustly getting a whooping. That's the time when you start mouthing, because you're like, the fury is just nullifying any pain that you get. There's no pain when you're mad, dude. And it's like, are you fucking done yet? I don't think I cussed. I think I just went with, are you done yet? And it was very calm. So, that's his new hourly rate of pay. Another way of looking at this, without calculating the raise first, is going, well, what percentage would he have in the end game? If we skip, like if we do B, Mason has 100% of his check already. That's his hourly wage.
And you only give me,
And we want to add 13% to it. So what is the new percentage?
130.
This should give us, if we add the two, 113%.
But like when I look at it, anytime I just see raise or like above whatever percentage that is, I just know that. You know that you're gonna be, or if it's decreased, you know it needs to be below 100, or else
Right.
you're not gonna be decreased. It's a quick guess.
So we could do the same triangle. And writing 113 as a decimal would be 1.13. And we've got our 1550. So if you did that,
Is 17.515
We get 17.515,
or 17.52.
and you gotta round it. So I think you got a little bit more than 13%, just a thought.
And mine.
Another question in this category is simple interest.
Oh, but well.
We're a little
that's-
early in the
yeah, that's
course for
different-
that.
different, yeah, linear, right?
Simple interest, I equals PR2. I is the interest. P stands for principal, which is your starting amount. R is the rate, which is a percent. I'm off screen right now. And it's a percent for a specific time period. T is time. And we want this to be in the same units
As
as the time period, or as the time period in the rate. Okay. I think the best way to cover this is with an example. We have $10,000 is invested for 3 months at 5% a year. How much interest is made?
yeah.
So identify what we have. Can you fill in I, P, R, or T?
Can't fill out. Can't fill out T because it's not in the same, or you can't fill out R. It's not the same. You got your principal.
Well, we can, but we gotta address it, right? They're in different time units, right?
Yeah,
So maybe the principal we can write down right away, right?
yeah, 10 grand.
The principal is 10 grand. The rate is. It's law, we don't want to change the rate because we don't know if the bank changes the rate. It might be a specific thing. So we're going to keep the rate locked in as a yearly thing. And the rate is 5% or 0.05. Which means we want the 3 months
Oh.
in terms of
In terms of a year, okay, yeah. Yeah, 1/4. 1/4 of the earnings.
So that's actually a great
Well, that's a
segue.
better way to put it though, 1/4 of the earnings that you would earn in a year, right?
So let me cover how to convert to that, because not everyone's quick on the draw with that being 3 months is 1/4 of a year. chapter 4, and we are gonna be working on this today, so I'm not jumping ahead. If I want to convert 3 months and I want to end up with a value in years. There is a ratio, and I call this the conversion bridge. And I want to end up with years, so I want units and years on top.
And whatever. you take
And
away.
what I'm getting rid of, the total I'm paying, what I want to get rid of goes on bottom. So desired outcome on top. What we are dumping on bottom. Then we got to talk about what is the connection between months and years. So how many months are there in a year? There are 12 months in 1 year. This bridge, the bridge that we're walking over, is a fraction bar. So we are doing 3 months. And so there's a line here, treat this like parentheses. Times 1/12. 1 year over 12. Yeah,
When you get into more complicated things, sometimes in my head, it's just always been easiest for me to go that 3 months, put a line over it and just go to 1. That way you multiply everything on the bottom.
it's not a bad idea.
And then you multiply everything on top, and it just keeps you in the remembrance of actually having a placeholder.
It's a good idea to write the 1 on the bottom, right? Was gonna say it, hadn't gotten there yet. Because it helps us recognize it's fraction multiplication, right?
Because then if you were trying, trying to go into a week, and you had another right there, it makes it a lot easier for you to just multiply everything on the top and on the bottom.
So if I multiply these, remember how when we were dealing with fractions, something that appeared on top and bottom, we could cancel out? Months appears on top and bottom. Look at this magic. What? Cancel not just numbers, but units and shit too? That's the idea of this bridge. We're gonna treat it like fractions and just cancel shit out. So when we want to start with something like gallons and convert it to teaspoons, as we will do today. We'll show you how to do it the long way. I don't know, other than looking it up, you'd have to Google it. So. If I multiply across, I've got 3 times 1 on top, I've got 1 times 12 on bottom. And the only thing I have left is years on top. And if I can simplify this. Or I can just put it in the calculator. I've got 3 divided by 12. That's how the fraction bar works. The thing on top divided by the thing on bottom. This is 0.25. Or if you reduce it, it's 1/4.
In this sense, it's better.
Probably. Depends on how you
Just
do
easy
everything.
to calculate.
So it looks like what I'm missing is the I. And so I have I equals P times, or PRT, these are all multiplied together. And I have those values. I've got 10,000. I've got 0.05. And I've got 0.25. Actually, if I leave the years in, this is 0.05% a year, and this is 0.25 years.
It's a quarter of 500, 125.
Yeah. So again, I got something on, I could put these all over 1. The years cancel. And the only unit I have left is that $sign. So I got 10,000 times 0.05 times 0.25. And you throw it in a calculator, you should get $125.
You're gonna be asking the interest in the.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give you euros or shit like that. Dollars is the unit, the currency unit I'm comfortable
To be
with.
honest, yeah, 5% on savings is pretty good.
That's a good rate.
Pretty good. I mean, that's better than what you could get on the stock market if you were like, you could get better if you were extremely aggressive, but just kind of be passive. A
Right.
lot better than saving. So you got some of that.
Let's go the other way. Let's do a decrease. These have all been gains. So I've showed two ways. You have a question? You have that look on your face like I have a question. It just went away. You're like, why are you looking at me now? Okay, so we had two ways of doing increase. We could find the actual increase and then add it. Or we could do that percentage thing. We could also do it with decreases. Works the same way, except instead of adding is out, we're subtracting. That's what decrease. I hope you're fucking with me.
No,
You have to be.
I swear, no.
I would hope so. If you took calculus, increase and decreases in calculus. It's called rate of change.
That's,
All right, subtracting. So where does it show up? You know, like everything we've been doing lately is money. Where do we have something where something goes down? Other than Bob getting a pay cut because he mouthed off to the boss. He's been like, nope, fuck that raise. You ain't getting that raise. In fact, we're taking an extra 5%. Where do we have stuff that the price goes down? Discount or sales.
13%.
So let's give an example. A half off is too easy. So we're gonna go like 30% off.
Still easy.
30% is not 1/3.
Oh, 30%, yeah.
Already failed.
Oh, sorry.
So Mason goes into. Dick's Sporting Goods.
I love dicks.
And buys a black ski mask. How much do you think a black ski mask is?
Ooh, last one I bought was about 22.
Well, that's not a lot. Let's say 22. I'll avoid, everything will be whole colors here. What else did you buy?
Pack of underwear.
How much was your underwear?
It was about pricey, about $30. Like 6. 3.
Bertha, what else did he buy in addition to a black ski mask and underwear? Socks.
That's pretty weird.
Look at that pack of socks. Well. Anyone want to add anything else you bought in addition to socks, underwear, and a black ski mask? That's a good question.
Ask questions.
That's a great.
Now, this is not getting like.
What
Face
do you work for?
and-
Let's say he buys a rope too. What if he buys a rope? 50-foot rope, maybe a grappling hook. 50-foot rope and grappling hook. Imagine the grappling hooks. can
4
be-
rolls of duct tape.
Let's say that's 58.
That says my mom.
Doug, I heard 4 rolls of duct tape. Let's say that's $16. And you obviously need a duffel bag to carry all this shit.
Yeah,
Let's go with a black duffel
I
bag
don't want to look like an idiot walking out of the store with a ski mask and underwear.
for, and let's say 49. Everything is 30% off.
With a tie.
How much is the total bill without considering tax?
With or without the ski mask.
It's. Let's see.
Fucking Bob adds in underwear. I clearly set this up to be a fun problem. I made sure it was a black ski mask. And what does he fucking add? Underwear.
Well, you asked what's the last thing I bought there. I mean,
No, I said, what do you buy with the black ski mask?
well, I don't know.
I set you up for a great story. And you go with survey says underwear,
But I mean,
Ding, ding, ding.
right?
in a time of me training for my serial killer activities, I needed.
Damn, you went down a different direction than I was. But if you're going serial killer, you're gonna need some sort of form of weapon. Or is that what the rope's for? Like strangling him after you climb up?
How are you gonna, like, what if you have to climb something, you're gonna be like in your underwear?
Right, he didn't get any like black
What's the doctor for?
sports suit.
Socks.
He's got his business socks on. All right, so let's maybe make a list. Let's write this. Like, this is how shit shows up in their real life. So he bought the ski mask. And that was 22. And he bought underoos, because he looks like a fucking underoos kind of kid,
Ooh.
30.
How
He
you
bought
like?
socks for 12. He bought climbing equipment. My rope and grappling hook for 58.
I'm gonna say it was done with the climbing equipment in the billiard room.
The duct tape is 16.
Professor Plum, you guys have played the game too.
And double bag is 49.
Yeah. There you go, they're talking.
What about that is
The what?
Scarlet White.
Uh, And he bought a fucking candlestick.
Yeah,
So what is his total bill without discount, before we even consider the discount? And how'd you get that?
by adding everything.
I don't know how
You got 187? Can anyone confirm that?
I can confirm. And four.
Let's see, I got 10, 15, and it ends in a 7. I'll believe you. That sounds good. Why did I do the total first? Why didn't I figure out what each item was? That's how it goes at the register. It'll calculate how much each item is discounted at the register.
That's a lot more math.
That's a lot more math. What? You go 187?
The computer is smart.
So we could do the 30% off on each one. Or we can do it at the end. Now, the question is,
What do you want to find exactly?
do we want
30%, or do you want?
the discount, then the total price? That's option A. Or option B is just jump straight to the bill. Now, I'm betting Mason, I think he said option number 2. Mason goes with option number 2, but that's not me. I want to know like how much I fucking saved. I don't want to just know what the new balance is. I want to walk out going, I saved this much money.
I'm not dealing with like tons and tons of money there. Like if you just did straight to the bill, you look at the bill now and then you look at that and you're like, oh, it's not that much. It's you're like, okay, that's about, I can't say it right now, but that's about.
You can't tell me exactly how much that is?
I can, but I think.
How much is it?
Wait,
Did you use a calculator?
yeah, 150. Sorry, I was sorry.
So 150.
157. I got 130.59. I knew total for 30% on.
You did a lot of rounding there.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't do it rounding.
Because it should have been 5610. Yeah.
I didn't do that.
All right, so I got my is of percent. If I want to figure out the discount first, again, I'm looking for the is. So I've got 187 and I've got the 30% as a decimal.
This is for A.
So we got 187 times 0.30. And I'm doing this in my head. I'm getting $56.10. Can someone confirm that on a calculator?
Yep. Well, you just backtrack.
I did 10% and then I tripled it. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
All right, so
But it can't triple that.
that's my discount, right? What? It's 56.1, but if I write it as a decimal or as a dollar amount, the 0.1 means 10 cents. Right. So it did say 56.1, you're right. The calculator output is there. But in terms of dollars, it's that. And so how much did he actually pay? That's my discount. And how do I go from this to the total?
So,
I'm gonna do 187 minus the 5610, right?
well, so like plus a 5%, right?
It goes down to a 6. This is 130.9. That was option A. I want to see that. I want to know how much I saved. I want to know I saved $56 waiting for fucking Black Friday.
Nah, all I know is that it's gonna cost me the total amount, no matter what. Doesn't matter what I was gonna spend, most of the time, if you look at discounts. If you knew what we got the product for, ooh, you'd be crying yourself to sleep, 30% off.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's the cost of the goods, cost of making it, cost of paying for overhead and
Oh,
salespeople, the
exactly,
transportation, and then they gotta have a profit. Why do this if you're not making a profit?
that is crazy to see.
It's that
50
profit
or
margin.
50% I don't want to.
So the other option is going, if I jump straight to the total. I don't want to find out what the discount is. I want to find out. I want the total, not the discount.
How would you do that?
And if I didn't get a discount, if I had no discount, I'm paying 100%. That's the no discount version. With the discount, I'm taking 30% off. I'm subtracting 30%. So my new portion that I'm paying is 70%. So in my is of triangle, I've got 187 here and 0.70 here. And that'll take us straight to $130.90.
Probably behind the cash register, that's what I.
You would just punch it into the cash register and let it do it.
But saying old.
In the old days, they expected people to know math a little bit better than they do now. Now the fucking buttons just have pictures of what you're buying. Oh, not that it's not bad.
Also, the numbers will be smaller, right? In a sense. Sure.
I have no idea, probably.
Inflation.
Back then, I could get a candy bar for a nickel.
Yeah.
That's fucking what my mom used to say.
That's also back and forth penicillin, so I think I'll take it. $4 candy bar.
All right, you guys good? Mason, make yourself useful. Come hang out with stack of shit. I'm useful. You tell your mom everything I said today. Tell her about the L on my forehead too. I'm gonna break this up into 2 videos, chapter 3 and chapter 4.